Welcome back to Legacy of Lands. Today we're diving into one of the most influential civilizations in history, the Greek civilization. From the rise of powerful city-states to the sprawling Hellenistic kingdoms, Greece shaped the ancient world and left a lasting legacy. So buckle up, because we're about to travel back in time to the days when philosophy, democracy, and legendary battles ruled the Mediterranean. Our story begins around 800 BCE, a time when Greece wasn't the unified nation we think of today. Instead, Greece was made up of hundreds of small independent city-states, or polis. Each city-state functioned as its own political and social entity. These city-states often fought each other, but they also developed unique identities that contributed to the rich tapestry of Greek culture. These city-states were small by modern standards, but each one was a powerhouse in its own way. Some, like Corinth, were famous for trade, while others, like Thebes, were known for their powerful armies. But two cities stood above the rest: Athens and Sparta. These two rivals represented completely different ideals and values, which shaped much of Greek history. The rugged geography of Greece played a major role in this development. With mountains separating regions and seas connecting them, these city-states grew in isolation from each other, yet shared a common language and religion. The combination of independence and interdependence set the stage for Greece's incredible achievements. Let's start with Athens, which is often called the cradle of democracy. By the 5th century BCE, Athens had developed a system of government that was revolutionary for its time. It wasn't perfect. Women, slaves, and foreigners couldn't vote. But the idea that free male citizens had a say in the government was a radical departure from the monarchies and tyrannies that ruled much of the ancient world. Athens was a bustling metropolis for its time, with the agora, or public marketplace, at its heart. Here, Athenians not only traded goods but ideas. Philosophers like Socrates would engage in debates, challenging people to think critically about life, ethics, and governance. The intellectual energy of Athens was unmatched, fostering creativity in philosophy, science, and the arts. And let's not forget the architecture. The crowning achievement of Athenian architecture was the Parthenon, a temple dedicated to Athena, the city's patron goddess, built atop the Acropolis. This monumental structure symbolized Athens' power, wealth, and artistic excellence. Even today, its ruins inspire awe and represent the heights of ancient Greek culture. Now let's head to Sparta, a city that took a very different approach to life. While Athens flourished in art and philosophy, Sparta developed into a military state. From birth, Spartans were trained for one purpose: war. The entire society was geared towards producing the best warriors, and their harsh training regimen, known as the agoga, was legendary. Spartan boys entered the agoga at the age of 7. Here, they were taught survival skills, hand-to-hand combat, and discipline. But life wasn't just hard for the boys. Spartan women also played a unique role in this militarized society. They were given more freedom than women in other Greek city-states, as they were expected to maintain the household and even give birth to strong warriors. Sparta's military prowess reached its peak during the Persian Wars, where their soldiers became legendary. At the Battle of Thermopylae, 300 Spartans held off the vast Persian army, led by King Xerxes, in one of the most famous last stands in history. Though the Spartans were eventually defeated, their bravery became a symbol of heroic sacrifice. Though the Greek city-states were often at odds, the Persian Wars forced them to unite against a common enemy. In the early 5th century BCE, the mighty Persian Empire, under King Darius, and later King Xerxes, attempted to invade Greece. The Persian Empire was one of the largest and most powerful the world had ever seen, and it seemed impossible that the small, divided Greek city-states could resist. But resist they did. The Battle of Marathon, in 490 BCE, was the first major victory for the Greeks, where a small Athenian army defeated the much larger Persian forces. This victory gave the Greeks hope, but the real test came 10 years later at Thermopylae and Salamis. The naval battle at Salamis, led by the Athenian general Themistocles, was particularly crucial. Athenian ships trapped and destroyed much of the Persian fleet, turning the tide of the war. The Persian Wars demonstrated that when united, the Greek city-states could achieve the impossible. Although Athens and Sparta were the leaders of the resistance, many other Greek city-states played key roles in the victory. Their collective defense not only preserved Greek independence, but also set the stage for Greece's golden age. Unfortunately, the unity forged during the Persian Wars didn't last. The Peloponnesian War, fought between Athens and Sparta from 431 to 404 BCE, was one of the most destructive conflicts in Greek history. Athens, with its strong navy and wealth, squared off against Sparta's powerful land army, and the entire Greek world was plunged into chaos. The war wasn't just about military might. It was a battle of ideologies. Athens represented democracy and culture, while Sparta stood for oligarchy and military discipline. The war dragged on for nearly 30 years, with both sides suffering immense losses. Athens was ultimately weakened by a devastating plague and political turmoil, while Sparta received assistance from the Persian Empire, tipping the balance in their favor. In the end, Sparta emerged victorious, but the cost was high. The war left much of Greece in ruins, and neither Athens nor Sparta was ever the same again. This internal conflict weakened the Greek city-states, making them vulnerable to external threats and paving the way for a new power to rise in the north. In the northern Greek region of the Macedonia, a powerful king named Philip II was watching the decline of the southern city-states. Philip united Macedonia and transformed it into a military powerhouse. His son, Alexander the Great, would take Macedonia's power to new heights, launching one of the most ambitious military campaigns in history. After ascending to the throne in 336 BCE, Alexander embarked on a campaign to conquer the Persian Empire. He was only 20 years old, but within a decade, he had created one of the largest empires the world had ever seen, stretching from Greece to Egypt, Persia, and even into India. Alexander's tactics and leadership were unparalleled, making him one of history's greatest military minds. Alexander's conquests didn't just bring new lands under Greek control, they spread Hellenistic culture across 3 continents. Cities like Alexandria in Egypt became centers of learning, science, and the arts, where Greek, Egyptian, Persian, and Indian cultures blended. This Hellenistic era would last for centuries, profoundly influencing the development of Western civilization. But even the greatest empires fall. After Alexander's death in 323 BCE, his empire fractured into smaller Hellenistic kingdoms, ruled by his generals. These kingdoms often fought each other, weakening themselves in the process. Meanwhile, in the West, the Roman Republic was growing in power, and soon the once mighty Greek world would come under Roman control. The final blow came in 146 BCE, when the Roman army defeated the last of the Hellenistic kingdoms, and Greece became a province of the Roman Empire. While Greek independence was lost, Greek culture continued to thrive under Roman rule. The Romans admired Greek art, philosophy, and literature, adopting much of it into their own culture. Though the era of the Greek city-states had come to an end, their legacy lived on. Greek ideas about democracy, philosophy, and science continued to shape Western civilization, influencing everything from Roman law to the Renaissance and beyond. The Greek civilization, though conquered, was never truly defeated. So even though Greece's political power faded, its one cultural legacy is still very much alive today. From democracy to philosophy, architecture to art, the Greek civilization has left an indelible mark on history. Thanks for watching this episode of Legacy of Lands. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lands and peoples that shaped our world. Until next time, explore, learn, and keep the legacy alive.